year ago, at least a year ago in church calendar terms, on this special festival day of the Holy Trinity last year, I was taking my first service at St Thomas's Church, North Ipswich, having only begun as your local priest a few Sundays earlier. Doesn't that seem like a lifetime ago? It was only my fourth Sunday in the parish, and it was my turn to go over the river to St Thomas's. So I was well prepared. I even looked up on Apple Maps to see exactly where St Thomas's Church is. 4 minutes drive from where I was sitting in the old rectory. I could almost have picked up a pebble and thrown it on the church roof. Not that I would ever do such a thing, I hasten to say, to the church warden in the front row. I might throw it at him, but I wouldn't throw it on the church roof. As I reflected with the folk at St Thomas's Church on the significance of the Trinity, I explored the idea that this uniquely Christian understanding of God also offers us some kind of a model or a template for a unified ministry that encompassed both our churches while celebrating difference and maintaining diversity. And I mentioned at the time, because I looked up my sermon last night to see what on earth I said last year, I mentioned at the time that this kind of conversation, this insight, had grown out of a conversation with Lorraine on the previous Monday at a regular supervisory session, where I was saying to her, so what exactly are we trying to achieve with St Thomas's? Are we looking at a single parish? Are we looking at one church? What's going on? What's the plan here? Because I was very much the new kid on the block. And I remember saying to Lorraine at the time, maybe our understanding of God as Trinity has something to say to us about a parish that has more than one church, and indeed more than one congregation. And that was kind of the kicking off point for my sermon at St Thomas's last year. In fact, actually some of the words I said to them were these: I think our understanding of God as Trinity offers a model for ways we can work together. We believe that Father, Son, and Spirit exist in, with, and for each other. And it seems to me that this is the understanding that has to be at the basis of our shared future together, for surely our future is a shared one. And they didn't throw me out of the church, they didn't tar and Trinity, and they didn't throw stones, which was good. Well, a lot of water has passed under the bridge since that Sunday last year, and look at us now. Within a few weeks of that sermon, the parish council at St Thomas's Church took a bold decision to request the bishop that they join with St Paul's Church to form a new ministry unit together here in Ipswich. I'm not taking any credit for that decision, although I rejoiced at it. And I certainly don't think my Trinity Sunday sermon last year was a game changer. But looking back, I'm struck at how everything came together so well in the middle months of last year. The parish council that I mentioned must have been the one in June, when they decided to write to the bishop with a copy to us to let us know what they were saying. And just a few weeks later in July, when we had a combined service, the bishop was with us and met with the church wardens from both the parishes as they then were. Within weeks, things had turned around. 12 months later, we're eagerly awaiting the arrival of our new parish priest, which, as we said last week, we anticipate will be during the last week of July, so that Nicole is ready to kick off from the 1st of August. And we're looking forward to his leadership and his energy and his wisdom, which will come from a very different place because of his personal and cultural formation in South Africa. We look forward to his ministry as we explore what being one parish with two churches looks like. In so many ways, we find ourselves looking back. We find ourselves looking around at the present situation, and of course, we're looking forward. There's a Trinitarian dimension to so much of our life as people of faith. And that triple perspective is also seen as we bring a young child for baptism. And I heard Oliver before, so I thought I can't yet spot him. I know he's over there somewhere, and that's fantastic. It's a rare sound to hear a baby's cry in church, so bring him often, but don't make him cry all. He's always welcome here as we be going on to make clear. As we prepare to baptise Oliver, or indeed any other child, we're looking back with fresh insight to understand how the past has shaped who we are and where we are now. What has happened in the past to bring about the miracle of a new life? The legacy of the past may be a mixed bag. Some stuff we delight to recall, and you'll talk about those over lunch, I'm sure. Other moments we'd love to forget. Old wounds may not yet have healed. There are challenges and opportunities. Each time we gather for worship, as we saw a few minutes ago, we look back and we name our need for forgiveness, for healing, for transformation. We are not obsessed by guilt. We simply have our eyes wide open to the reality that we always need to grow, to heal, and to transform. And so, as we'll say shortly in the baptism service, we turn to Christ. We also celebrate the grace and the wonder of the present moment and all the fresh beginnings it represents. And this is never more so than when we hold a newborn child in our arms. And one of the great privileges of being a priest is that I get to cover all your babies. I get to look into that innocent face and bless that child and ask myself, in what ways is this little person going to be a blessing to us, to our community, and to the world? We can't go back into the past, and we know we can't stay in the present, but while we are here, we treasure that moment. It is a moment of grace. And as we baptise Oliver in a few minutes, we share in a moment of grace. Like all of us, Oliver is loved by God. We may not be able to see that in our lives, but we can see it in the innocence of a child. Oliver is loved by God simply because he is Oliver. Not for what he does, not for what he thinks, not for what he believes, but simply for who he is. And that is true for each of us. Just as we are loved unconditionally by God. In this moment of grace, as we baptise Oliver, we catch a glimpse of that unconditional love that surrounds each of us and all of us every moment. But even in this moment, we're looking ahead. We are making promises to be there for Oliver and for each other in the years ahead. No matter what the past may have been like for any of us, and no matter how we understand this present moment of grace, we all want Oliver to grow up knowing he's loved by family, by friends, and by God. And today, here in this church, we are going to promise to do whatever it takes to ensure that Oliver knows he's loved. is sometimes said that it takes a village to raise a child. Villages can be hard to find in our sprawling suburbs and our fast-moving world, but St. Paul's Church is Oliver's village. We are here for him, for his parents, his godparents, and his wider family. This is a place, a community where we travel more slowly, where we get to know each other, where we have time for each other, and where we know the gospel, because that's what a village is all about as well. We are the village for Oliver as he begins his journey of faith. As we all live into the mystery of God, who defies our best attempts to find the right words, we shall find that we are in, with, and for each other. We are one. We are diverse. We are loved.